Have you ever wondered if the reality we see is all there is? What if there were colors, sounds, and dimensions hidden just beyond our perception? This is the story of a young boy named Leo, whose unique vision would challenge everything we thought we knew about the world around us. It all started on a quiet afternoon in a sunlit classroom. 7-year-old Leo was lost in his art, drawing with a focus that was intense even for him. He sketched a garden, but it wasn't any garden his teacher, Mrs. Gable, had ever seen. The flowers shimmered with hues she couldn't name. A brilliant, pulsating color that was something like gold, but also electric green. The sky wasn't blue, but a deep, velvety shade that seemed to hum with energy. Mrs. Gable walked over, curious. "Leo, that's a beautiful drawing," she said, pointing to a particularly vibrant flower. "What color is that?" "I don't think I have a crayon like it." Leo looked up, confused. "It's krill," he said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. He then pointed to the sky in his drawing. "And that's gent. Krill and gent." Words she'd never heard, for colors she'd never seen. She looked at his crayon box. It was a standard 64 pack. None of the crayons matched the otherworldly shades on his paper. Leo had simply mixed standard reds, blues, and yellows, yet on his page, they transformed into something entirely new. For him, these colors were as real as red or blue. For everyone else, they were simply impossible. This mystery only deepened. Mrs. Gable, intrigued and a little bewildered, spoke to Leo's mom. Together, they took Leo and his drawing to the local paint store, a place with thousands of color swatches. They hoped to find a match, to put a name to Leo's mysterious colors. The store clerk, a man who prided himself on being able to identify any shade, was stumped. He held the drawing under different lights, scanned it with his color-matching device, but the machine just returned error codes. "I've never seen anything like this," he admitted, shaking his head. "It's like your son is painting with light itself." Leo, meanwhile, was fascinated by the rows of paint chips. He pointed to a standard red swatch. "This is red," he said. Then he pointed to a space on the wall just next to it. "And that's infrared." He gestured to the other end of the rainbow display, beyond the violet, and that's ultraviolet. He wasn't just naming them, he was pointing to them, as if they were physically there, painted on the wall. To everyone else, he was pointing at a blank white wall. The confusion was growing. Was this just a child's overactive imagination, or was something more profound happening? Convinced this was more than just imagination, Leo's mom scheduled an appointment with a top ophthalmologist. The doctor ran all the standard tests. Leo could read the smallest letters on the chart with ease. His pupils reacted perfectly to light. His retinal scans were normal. Structurally, his eyes were perfect. But then the doctor decided to try a more advanced test, one typically used in research labs. It involved flashing a series of colored lights, including some on the very edge of the known visible spectrum. The results were astonishing. While a typical human eye has 3 types of cone cells for seeing red, green, and blue, the test suggested Leo's retina had a 4th type. This condition, known as tetrachromacy, is incredibly rare and usually found in women. It allows a person to see around 100 million colors instead of the standard 1 million. But Leo's results were even more extreme. The test indicated his vision didn't just have more nuance within the normal spectrum, extended beyond it. The doctor was speechless. He was looking at a human eye that could, in theory, perceive light that was invisible to everyone else on Earth. So what does it mean to see beyond the visible spectrum? Let's take a quick dive into the science. Light travels in waves, and the color we perceive depends on the length of these waves. The electromagnetic spectrum is a huge range of all possible light waves. The portion our eyes can see is just a tiny sliver called visible light, which we know as the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. Red has the longest wavelength we can see, and violet has the shortest. But just beyond red is infrared, and just beyond violet is ultraviolet. We can't see them, but they are all around us. They are not imaginary. They're as real as the light from your lamp. We've just evolved without the biological tools to perceive them. It's like living next to an ocean, but only being able to see the first few feet of water. The vast, deep unknown is still there, teeming with wonders we can't even imagine. Leo, it seemed, was born with the ability to see that deeper ocean. We actually have a lot of experience with these invisible colors. We just use technology to see them. Think of a thermal imaging camera. It detects infrared radiation, which we feel as heat. On a thermal camera, warmer objects glow in bright reds and yellows, while cooler ones are blue and purple. This is how firefighters see through smoke and how night vision goggles work. They are translating the invisible world of infrared into colors we can understand. Similarly, we use ultraviolet light in many ways. It's what gives us a sunburn. Bees, on the other hand, can see ultraviolet light naturally. They see patterns on flowers that are completely invisible to us, like glowing landing strips guiding them to the nectar. For a bee, a plain yellow flower might be a dazzling bullseye of ultraviolet patterns. Leo was seeing the world like this, but without any special goggles or technology. He was seeing the heat signature of his own hand, the UV patterns on a flower, and perhaps colors we don't even have names for yet. With this new understanding, the world transformed for Leo, and for those who started to believe him. A walk through the city became a journey into a different dimension. To us, a power line is just a black cable. To Leo, it glowed with a faint, pulsing infrared hum, a visual representation of the energy flowing through it. The remote control in his hand wasn't just a plastic box. When he pressed a button, he could see the invisible beam of infrared light shoot out from the front. The sky wasn't just blue, it was layered with shimmering ultraviolet light, especially on a sunny day. Plants in the park weren't just green. They were a complex tapestry of light, with some leaves reflecting unique patterns in the near-infrared range, indicating their health. He described seeing the world as if it were a massive living network of light and energy, most of which was completely hidden from everyone else. He was experiencing a reality that was richer, more detailed, and infinitely more complex. It was beautiful, but it was also isolating. He was the only one who could see the world as it truly was. Word of Leo's ability reached a team of physicists and neuroscientists at a major university. They were skeptical, of course, but intrigued. They invited Leo and his family to their lab. Their plan was simple. If Leo could truly see infrared and ultraviolet light, they could verify it. They set up a series of experiments. In one, they used special cameras that could film in both infrared and ultraviolet. They would show Leo a scene and ask him to describe what he saw. Then, they would compare his descriptions to the footage from the special cameras. They pointed the camera at a bowl of fruit. To a normal eye, it was just apples and bananas. The infrared camera, however, showed that one of the apples was much warmer than the others. It had been sitting in the sun. Without seeing the camera feed, Leo pointed and said, "That one is glowing." They showed him a flower under a special UV lamp. To the scientists, it looked plain white. The UV camera revealed a dark pattern in the center. Leo drew the exact pattern. Over and over again, his descriptions perfectly matched what the high-tech cameras were recording. He wasn't imagining it. He was seeing it. The scientists were left in awe. This wasn't just a medical anomaly. It was a fundamental breakthrough in understanding the limits of human perception. Leo's story forces us to ask a profound question. What else is out there that we couldn't see? Our senses define our reality. We believe what we can see, hear, and touch. But Leo's vision reveals that our reality is just a fraction of the total picture. We are surrounded by information, by energy, by entire spectrums of existence that are invisible to us. If a human eye can evolve to see more of the light spectrum, what other senses could be possible? Could there be sounds we can't hear, textures we can't feel, or even dimensions we can't perceive? Leo's impossible colors weren't impossible at all. They were just beyond our limited biological reach. His discovery wasn't just about a boy who could see more colors. It was a revelation that reality itself is infinitely vaster and more mysterious than we ever dared to imagine. We're all just looking at the world through a keyhole. Leo is simply able to open the door a little wider. Makes you wonder what else is waiting on the other side. Thank you so much for watching. If this story expanded your view of reality, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that challenges the world as you know it. Let me know in the comments what you think might be out there just beyond our senses. We'll see you in the next one.